Purposely. Your life, God's purpose. Listen at purposely.com.
It's cliche, I know, but I love a good romantic comedy story. I am, as Ted Lasso puts it, a rom-communist. Please take that for the joke that it is. They usually share the same elements. Boy meets girl, they fall in love, something happens to try to break them apart, but at the end of the day, it's a happy ending. Many have standard tropes or recurring plot devices like that the boy and girl start as enemies but end up in love, or there's some obstacle keeping them from being together like previous relationships or jobs or secrets or some dramatic news. And most of them have pretty impressive soundtracks, perfectly timed with swells of music just as one character shows up again. If you are a fan of this genre, you probably have strong opinions about your favorite rom-coms and the ones you think don't quite work. The Book of Ruth is not a romantic comedy. There may be some romance involved, maybe, but the point is not a romance. As we meet Boaz, let's remember to dive into the overarching themes for this text. By the way, I'm Jen. This is the Bible for Busy People podcast. Let's get into Ruth chapter 2. It says, Now Naomi had a relative on her husband's side, a man of standing from the clan of Elimelech, whose name was Boaz. And Ruth, the Moabite, said to Naomi, Let me go to the fields and pick up the leftover grain behind anyone in whose eyes I find favor. Naomi said to her, Go ahead, my daughter. So she went out, entered a field, and began to glean behind the harvesters. As it turned out, she was working in a field belonging to Boaz, who was from the clan of Elimelech. Just then, Boaz arrived from Bethlehem and greeted the harvesters. The Lord be with you. The Lord bless you, they answered. Boaz asked the overseer of his harvesters, Who does that young woman belong to? The overseer replied, She is the Moabite who came back from Moab with Naomi. She said, Please let me glean and gather among the sheaves behind the harvesters. She came into the field and has remained here from morning until now, except for a short rest in the shelter. So Boaz said to Ruth, My daughter, listen to me. Don't go and glean in another field and don't go away from here. Stay here with the women who work for me. Watch the field where the men are harvesting and follow along after the women. I have told the men not to lay a hand on you. And whenever you are thirsty, go and get a drink from the water jars the men have filled. At this, she bowed down with her face to the ground. She asked him, Why have I found such favor in your eyes that you notice me, a foreigner? Boaz replied, I've been told all about what you have done for your mother-in-law since the death of your husband, how you left your father and mother and your homeland and came to live with a people you did not know before. May the Lord repay you for what you have done. May you be richly rewarded by the Lord, the God of Israel, under whose wings you have come to take refuge. May I continue to find favor in your eyes, my Lord, she said. You have put me at ease by speaking kindly to your servant, though I do not have the standing of one of your servants. At mealtime, Boaz said to her, Come over here, have some bread and dip it in the wine vinegar. When she sat down with the harvesters, he offered her some roasted grain. She ate all that she wanted and had some left over. As she got up to glean, Boaz gave orders to his men, Let her gather among the sheaves, but don't reprimand her. Even pull out some stalks for her from the bundles and leave them for her to pick up, and don't rebuke her. So Ruth gleaned in the field until evening. Then she threshed the barley she had gathered, and it amounted to about an ephah. She carried it back to town, and her mother-in-law saw how much she had gathered. Ruth also brought out and gave her what she had left over after she had eaten enough. Her mother-in-law asked her, Where did you glean today? Where did you work? Blessed be the man who took notice of you. Then Ruth told her mother-in-law about the one at whose place she'd been working. The name of the man I worked with today is Boaz, she said. The Lord bless him, Naomi said to her daughter-in-law. He has not stopped showing his kindness to the living and the dead. She added, That man is our close relative. He is one of our guardian redeemers. Then Ruth the Moabite said, He even said to me, Stay with my workers until they finish harvesting all my grain. She's like spilling the tea. Naomi said to Ruth, her daughter-in-law, It will be good for you, my daughter, to go with the women who work for him, because in someone else's field you might be harmed. So Ruth stayed close to the women of Boaz to glean until the barley and wheat harvests were finished, and she lived with her mother-in-law. First of all, Ruth quickly gets to work to support herself and her mother-in-law. Deuteronomy 24:19 shows how God wants the Israelites involved in providing for those in need. When you're harvesting in your field and you overlook a sheaf, do not go back to get it. Leave it for the foreigner, the fatherless, and the widow, so that the Lord your God may bless you in all the work of your hands. God blesses our efforts to care for one another. Then we see Boaz as a noble character and, importantly, not an example of toxic masculinity. He is not threatened by Ruth and intentionally treats her with respect. He takes note of her character. He is not hitting on her. My professor, Dr. Ingrid Faro, points out in her book, Redeeming Eden, that the point of Ruth is God doing unforeseen things through the unexpected. Like we've talked about, Ruth is an outsider who brings Naomi back into community. Boaz is also part of this. She notes a running theme of hesed. More than romantic human love, hesed is God's kindness, loyal love, grace, and faithfulness. God is working through these seeming coincidences, like Ruth throwing in her lot with Naomi, ending up in Boaz's field, Boaz's response. God is showing kindness, loyal love, grace, and faithfulness. This goes along with the character described in Exodus 34, which we've talked a lot about here. God's hesed is in good laws and a good cast of characters, as Farah says in her book. With Boaz introduced as a kinsman redeemer, we again see the theme of redemption and restoration. Also, we see that Ruth has it in mind that she is an outsider and potentially felt like she didn't belong. I don't know how people treated her there. It's possible there was some judgment and unkindness, or at least people kind of kept her at arm's length. But also people noted how Ruth had been treating her mother-in-law. She was respected for this. Is there romance between Boaz and Ruth? The words and actions have the potential of being flirty. Like Ruth bows with her face all the way to the ground. Boaz invites her to eat with him at the table. So maybe there is a love story in here after all. But what we know for sure is that God is working in the details as an opening for both Naomi and Ruth to belong, to be brought back into healing and wholeness and community. And Boaz is a part of this. God is doing the work of reconciling, and that is his work with us too. Let's talk again tomorrow about Ruth chapter 3.
Thank you for listening to The Bible for Busy People. If you need prayer or want to go deeper in your faith, visit our show notes. Will you take a moment to share with a friend and leave a review? It helps the Bible get into even more people's minds and hearts. Find more podcasts that will recharge you at purposely.com.